Diddy parties. Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild. Wild.
What's going to happen, though, you think?
I think it's over.
You think it's over?
I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment.
Right. But do you think it's over?
Have you ever wondered what happens when one of the world's most outspoken podcasters drops explosive evidence in a courtroom? Have you ever imagined how far a comedian will go to rip back the curtain on celebrity excess?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. How many guys were on video saying, ain't no party like a Diddy party? How many people like, oh,
Joe Rogan burst into the Sean Diddy Combs trial with the swagger of a man who'd seen too much and spoken to too many people, too scared to go public. The moment he slid into that witness chair, a hush fell over a packed courtroom, eager for the usual glitz. This was different. He wasn't there to riff on UFC fights or spar with conspiracy theories. Instead, he carried a slim black journal, each page a dossier of off-the-record accounts, hidden recordings, and sworn affidavits. His entrance upended the whole affair. Journalists fumbled for pens, sketch artists froze mid-stroke, and Diddy's legal team exchanged wide-eyed glances. Rogan thrived in chaos, and he was about to detonate a bombshell.
openly talked about being there.
LeBron?
Ashton Kutcher, all these people. Like, you guys all went. You didn't see nothing? You didn't see nothing?
From his first words under oath, Rogan let skepticism bleed into every syllable. He painted a picture of high-profile freak-off parties that weren't parties at all, but carefully orchestrated rituals of control. Phones were confiscated, guests blindfolded, and hidden cameras recorded every moment. His tone was equal parts incredulous and dead serious. He recounted how former bodyguards, stylists, tour managers, and label executives came to him off camo, breath shaking, eyes darting, convinced they were risking everything by speaking out. He had audio excerpts verified by forensic experts. He had sworn statements corroborated by multiple insiders.
I mean, everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great.
This was not rumor. It was a mosaic of matching stories. Every paragraph of Rogan's testimony underscored a single point. Celebrity glamour was a facade for institutionalized intimidation. He spoke of a reinforced, biometric-locked vault beneath Diddy's Miami compound, dubbed the Black Box, rumored to hold encrypted hard drives filled with leverage, videos of VIPs in compromising situations. When he described naval special ops types whose nerves cracked at what they witnessed, the courtroom leaned in.
Yeah. You think Diddy was rogue or Diddy was like a Epstein type, working for somebody?
That's a good question. Well, it would be a great way to...
Satire bubbled through Rogan's delivery as he skewered the notion that silence equated to innocence. He pointed at high-profile friends of Diddy, Jay-Z, LeBron James, Jennifer Lopez, and asked why they hadn't sounded alarms. Not because they were guilty themselves, but because remaining silent meant maintaining status. He quipped that if Diddy was the fire, Jay-Z was the smoke detector that refused to ring. A courtroom chuckle rippled, a rare moment of levity in a proceeding otherwise chilled by the weight of the allegations. As he detailed the infamous 2023 yacht party, curtains drawn, phones forbidden, drinks spiked, guests rotated like cargo, Rogan's voice dropped to a near whisper. The crew gravely described being hired for a music video shoot, only to stumble into an offshore chamber of horrors.
Dude, like, always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 in the morning.
And then freak off.
Everybody says, get out of...
By the end of that account, deputies were glancing at each other, jurors gripped their water glasses, and Diddy sat stone-faced. Rogan didn't pause to let pity or revulsion settle. He barreled on, laying out how staff were offered hush money, only to have their homes ransacked weeks later when they refused. The comedian's testimony was relentlessly paced, no filler, no fluff, yet with every anecdote he wove in the broader tapestry. An entertainment industry underwritten by non-disclosure agreements, enforced by private armies, and propped up by brands terrified of scandal. He named the rainy day file, a backup stash of footage waiting to flood the public domain if anyone dared topple the throne.
To compromise celebrities,
Yeah.
and get them to say whatever you want them to do, get them to do whatever projects you'd like them to do.
He leaned forward, eyes blazing with conviction. This isn't about cancel culture, he growled. This is about accountability. Then he laid out a final devastating scenario. Federal agents raiding the compound, seizing servers, and unleashing years of hidden footage. In that moment, he wasn't just a witness, He was a prophet of an incipient collapse. By the time Rogan stepped down from the stand, the trial had irrevocably shifted. This was no longer a dispute over celebrity missteps. It was a reckoning over how power is wielded and silenced behind closed doors. He'd taken an army of whispered confessions and forged them into a spotlight bright enough to expose systemic rot. And he did it all with the same relentless energy that built his podcast empire. So what now? The jury will deliberate, the public will debate. But one thing is certain. When that black box opens, the entertainment world will never look the same. And we'll all be watching.
And you know, if you're a bunch of other celebrities are there, you're like, oh look, Bill Clinton's here, this is fine. Yeah.
The courtroom drama didn't end when Joe Rogan left the stand. Word of his testimony rippled through every corner of the media world as pundits scrambled to parse the fallout. Social feeds lit up with clips of Rogan's most charged moments, each one picking apart how secret rituals of control had been hiding behind red carpets and record deals. Suddenly, armchair detectives and seasoned journalists alike found themselves sifting through years of celebrity sightings and whispered rumors, connecting dots that had long been ignored. The viral push turned casual observers into amateur sleuths, and every mention of Diddy's name carried an electric charge of suspicion.
This is cool. Look at this. Like, Brad Pitt's here. Well, this is cool. You don't even think there's anything wrong with being there. Meanwhile, you're getting drugged up and filmed. And you have some punch, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling really good. I just feel amazing. You're all molly.
Behind closed doors, Diddy's legal team held emergency sessions to brainstorm damage control strategies. They pored over every frame of video deposited into evidence, hunting for ways to discredit witness accounts. Lawyers drafted motions aimed at excluding the most explosive allegations, hoping to keep crucial recordings off the public record. Meanwhile, PR operatives reached out to former guests and associates, offering incentives for public statements in support of Diddy. The battle transformed from a legal fight into a public relations war, played out both in court and across every news channel.
There's so many horrific accusations though, involving young singers, children.
He makes R. Kelly.
Sponsors grew jittery as the narrative shifted from music mogul to alleged mastermind of a blackmail empire. Brands that once clamored to align with Combs faced calls to sever ties, fearing association with the scandal. Merchandise lines were quietly pulled, endorsement deals paused, and social media partnerships placed on hold. Corporate risk assessments classified the story as a reputation threat, prompting swift moves to safeguard image and revenue. In boardrooms, executives whispered about contingency plans, while investors watched stock prices and media sentiment charts with growing wariness.
He looked like a decent guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the guy was like hanging out with Oprah, hanging out with...
Not all reactions were negative. Some voices hailed Rogan as a hero who broke through fear and silence. Independent artists and industry dissidents clamored for hearings on power abuses and gag orders. Grassroots groups launched campaigns demanding transparency in entertainment contracts and protections for whistleblowers. Podcasts and indie news outlets devoted entire episodes to unpacking the legal drama, interviewing experts on organized intimidation tactics. Suddenly, what had been an insider scare story became a rallying cry for creative freedom and accountability.
What's going on, Jamie?
I don't know. There's a lot going on. A lot of rumors are flying.
The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal with...
At the same time, legal experts weighed in on the strength of the case. Commentators debated whether Rogan's hearsay-laden accounts could hold up under cross-examination. Seasoned trial lawyers noted the judge's willingness to admit pattern-based evidence, suggesting that the court was treating these stories as more than idle gossip. Academic blogs surfaced with deep dives into similar high-profile cases, comparing the tactics used by powerful figures to quell dissent. A consensus emerged that even if some claims faltered, the sheer volume of matching narratives could tip the scales of credibility.
He was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors. Yeah, I don't know that there's any proof of anything.
Dude, when Homeland Security invades your house, you got problems.
Outside the courthouse, everyday people found themselves reevaluating their own perceptions of fame. Stories emerged of festival goers recounting unsettling encounters at industry VIP events. Amateur photographers uploaded snapshots of discreet cameras hidden in lighting rigs. Former roadies shared anecdotes about covert signs warning them to keep silent. The collective unease spread beyond Hollywood's elite circles into festival grounds and concert halls worldwide. Music fans traded warnings about what might lurk beneath the spectacle of stage lights and velvet ropes. Meanwhile, Diddy's fan base fractured. Some defended him staunchly, insisting that Rogan's guests were unreliable or motivated by grudges. Others expressed growing doubt, torn between loyalty and the weight of detailed accounts. Fan forums became battlegrounds where supporters and skeptics clashed over motive and truth. Heated debates unfolded over whether unwavering fandom could excuse potential abuses of power. In the midst of it all, neutral onlookers started to question the ethics of celebrity culture itself.
With dudes with guns and body armor.
Someone said that they weren't there to take stuff, they were there to delete everything. Like the real people that were in there, you know.
Oh,
Like,
that's
same
funny.
thing with them.
The trial also reignited discussion about non-disclosure agreements. Legal scholars pointed to the chilling effect of NDAs on victims and witnesses in any industry. Lawmakers in a few jurisdictions proposed bills to limit the scope of such agreements when allegations of abuse or illegal acts were involved. Advocacy groups championed safe reporting channels and anti-gag provisions, aiming to protect those who dared to speak out. What began as a court case morphed into a broader social movement around contractual fairness and the right to testimony. At the heart of this upheaval lay the concept of leverage. Rogan had introduced the idea that Diddy's empire was built on an architecture of fear, with tapes and secrets held like currency. Commentators unpacked that metaphor, likening it to corporate espionage or diplomatic blackmail. Articles drew parallels to scandals in government and finance, arguing that power structures across society often rely on hidden stores of influence. The comparison gave the public a fresh lens through which to examine not only celebrity misconduct, but also institutional abuses everywhere. As the trial moved into its next phases, jury members faced an unprecedented burden. They had to weigh dozens of personal testimonies against a mountain of legal objections and technical motions. Some jurors admitted in private interviews that they felt themselves becoming part of a larger cultural reckoning. They recognized that their verdict could reshape accountability and entertainment for decades to come. The weight of that responsibility hung in the air like a silent witness to the proceedings, reminding everyone involved that this was more than just a legal contest.
Over him as far as
Jail?
like he gets a cell right next to R. Kelly.
When the feds rolled up, you know, with the fucking Hummers and shit.
In homes across the country, water cooler talk revolved around Rogan's impact on the trial. Late-night hosts turned his most scathing lines into punchlines even as they acknowledged the gravity beneath the humor. Coffee shop chatter mingled with tweets debating whether a podcaster's platform could hold more sway than traditional journalism. Media studies professors incorporated the case into lesson plans about the intersection of new media, celebrity influence, and judicial processes. The case became a real-time experiment in how digital-age personalities could disrupt established systems.
They're like, it wasn't about Diddy, it was about if there were tapes of powerful people there.
Through it all, Joe Rogan remained a polarizing figure. To some, he was a renegade truth-teller who bypassed traditional filters. To others, he was a provocateur, exploiting fear for clicks. Yet everyone agreed that his courtroom appearance had not just entertained, but fundamentally altered the conversation about fame and secrecy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
They were the ones that called. They're like, I need to protect myself, so go in there with all the things and rip any tapes or any evidence.
Prince Harry was hanging with it.
If this deeper dive got your heart racing, do us a favor, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters as we follow every turn in this high-stakes saga. Stay tuned, stay curious, and we'll bring you the next chapter as it unfolds.